Hello YouTube, second replay analysis on this stream. This time we're looking at Matsutendai playing Jakiro. Pretty new to the game, so it's like kind of beginner level, but that's all good. Hello YouTube, yes. Okay, so starting items, well, let's see. You are Jakiro with a PA. No idea who's going to be against your lane. I think that's one of the funny things about Herald. No idea who's going to be in the lane sometimes. So overall, I think this is a pretty safe starting set of items. Maybe trade one clarity for a mango. Okay, actually, I suspect at this level, you could probably get off a pull without being contested. And in that case, multiple clarities can be good. So I'll leave it up to you. If you feel that's the case, then I think 2 clarities is okay. Otherwise, I might do 2 mangoes and 1 clarity. Just because that way you can like use... Like if you're playing the lane, you can use mangoes and immediately benefit. Whereas the clarity, you have to like back out of the lane for a little bit. And so usually you don't need 2 right away. And then if you do need another clarity, you can just like ferry it in. But otherwise, that's okay. Everything else besides that looks good. Your team, so this is kind of a weird draft as games like this go. So it turns out we have a mid silencer and an off lane Medusa. LC technically scales infinitely, and Troll's pretty good in the late game. But I do kind of favor PA and Medusa as a late game combo. Plus you have a silencer who also scales infinitely technically. So I'm not feeling too bad for you guys if you go late. It should be good. And in fact, your early game might suffer a little bit because Medusa... Okay, Medusa's supposed to be a bad early game hero. But again, in a Herald, you never know what you're going to get. So we're just going to focus on your own lane. Alright. Not bad going for the rune. I might be a little scared to do this. I think Dazzle and Brewmaster are actually a pretty strong combo. I might try to go right before you go for it. Like I would try to cast Dual Breath now and then go in. It's gonna be a little close, I suppose. But when you cast it from here, it's a little easier to hit both of them. Whereas like from right here, sometimes you can cast it and then Brewmaster like steps this way a bit and it's easier to miss. But that's a pretty minor thing.
Got a feeling this is gonna be good.
They're stealing the mid room if there is top 3. Okay, nice. I'm glad you're thinking about that already. Yeah, if you ever feel... So actually, in this case, right now, because you see 3 top, and I would actually be a little scared of Brewmaster Dazzle, I would go stand here and then just, like, walk this way. Especially if, like, PA stands here and sees both of them, then for sure you can walk this way and go steal it. Alright, so the creeps end up under your tower. We're going to have to be ready, or at least know that this is going to push. So I would start planning in your mind, okay, I'm going to pull in about a minute. A little less than a minute at this point. I think this is also an okay time. Actually, it's a pretty good time to dual breath. Because you know your creeps are going to die like this, right here, I would dual breath both of them. Because the lane's already pushing at this point. So it's like, the fact that you hit creeps is whatever. And it makes them a little scared, which helps you guys secure this range creep. And it slows them so that hopefully your creeps will damage them a little bit. So I think this would be a good time to cast Dual Breath. What did they start with? I didn't see. Drow. Or not Drow, PA have. Okay. Surround now. Looks like you're heading over. Great. Yeah, so it looks like you could have maybe sat in lane for like a couple more seconds, but honestly, I think it's fine to head over early. Especially if you're new to the game, it's better to make sure you get it and then worry about doing it a little later.
Many thanks.
PA me, want to harass more? I think it's okay to do the pull though, so if she disagrees, you know, whatever. Okay, right now, I would take a look at the lane if I were you. So, okay, 2 things. 1, One is the take a look at the lane, and then two is to try to get some of these last hits. So the reason we want to look at the lane is that it's not totally out of the realm of possibilities in Herald that maybe they just start shoving the lane all the way in which case you might want this to die soon so that the creeps can come back. In other cases, they might just be balancing the wave up here, in which case it's fine to take as much time as possible and then even try to connect the hard camp over. So it's important to like check the lane to get an idea of what you should, how you should be playing the pull. But then also just trying to get the last hits on them just for like a little bit of extra gold. That's like the minor side. Okay, looks like you did try to connect the pull and you were a little late. I'm not going to sweat it. I know you're new to the game, so you're still getting a feel for like how quickly the camps will die and all that. I think it's great that you were already thinking about it, though, to go for that connected pull. Round now. So you have 1.5 mana regen. Put your full on mana. Great time to cast Dual Breath once. Just so that you can start making use of your passive mana regen. And actually, because to continue that point even further, this is an example of why you don't usually need 2 clarities right away. Because like you haven't even touched them, which means this is 100 gold that could have been, you know, something else. This has been a pretty passive lane so far, so like you actually haven't used a lot of things. That's not really your fault. But just like for a reason why you don't always need like 2 clarities. We're recording, right? Okay, yeah. I failed to connect many times. Don't sweat it. It's hard to do, especially if you're new to the game. Eventually, you'll learn the feeling of like, okay, right now is the time. One thing you can do to make it a little easier on yourself, depending on what the creeps are and what your hero is, Jakiro has a little harder of a time doing it because his stuff is damage over time. But when it gets low, hit this camp, pull it over, and then help to finish off the camp. So instead of airing on like the later side, air to be a little early, and then cast spells or just auto attack to finish off the camp, and then pull it over. Otherwise, you will just eventually get the timing. So I wouldn't sweat it too much. Like you may lose lanes in the meantime, but you know, eventually you will get it. Ooh, this might be late. Let's see. You might be able to get one. Okay. Again, it's the same idea where you had the right idea and it's just going to take a bit of practice and experience to not miss it. And in fact, I think I missed a couple of these in my own stream today. Sometimes you just miss it by a little bit. I think what you can do right now, yeah, play aggressive right now. I would cast like Dual Breath if you get a chance. Look how many creeps you have. Make them like miserable under the tower. I would be careful. Okay, actually, this part, what you want to be careful of is that these creeps will probably die out of your experience range, especially if you cast Dual Breath on them. So if PA is going to leave and like PA is going to do the pull, then I think you should stand up here and make sure you get the XP from these. At a higher level, PA will be the one who stays up here and knows how to like play under tower. But at this level, most people are just terrified of the tower and will like avoid it. That or they're not terrified of the tower and they will dive it and die. But yeah, so for in the meantime, if I were you, I would try to, if PA knows she's going to go pull, I would try to stay like in this area and to get the XP from these creeps. Because otherwise right now they're dying and no one's getting them. Which is too bad. But if you do get the pull, then it can be okay. Ah! Yeah, okay. So, I don't know if you realized or not, but this tree is cut. So what you should do is actually attack them from here and pull them down this way. Because walking up this way takes like 2 to 3 seconds, and that's why this pull ended up getting missed. So in the future, you can even use a tango if you want. I know it's a little wasteful, but to guarantee the pull, if you want, you can tango this tree, hit them, pull them across. But if you ever try to pull them this way, then it's very hard to make the timing. And in fact, I think you can still make the pull this way, like right here, but you can't go this way. It has to be here, and it's like a very close timing. And then you can also do this pull fairly easily, but of course that means the creeps are like all the way up here, and the enemy might aggro them themselves at that point. tree early with a Tangate. Yeah, so you can definitely stand on that side and do it. Right, getting in another pull. Even if you're missing some, I actually think it's fine. Like, the fact that you're going for all these pulls is really good. It's much harder to make yourself remember to do pulls rather than to make yourself, like, get them. You know, if that makes sense. Like, having the ability to pull, but then forgetting to do them is, like, useless. At least remembering to do pulls and then missing a couple of them is, like, okay. Yeah, great idea. I think this is a good time to use dual breath because you have so many creeps here. PA's getting some solo XP and farm here. Hopefully. Hopefully she's not missing all the last hits. Back there was also an okay time to clarity up if you wanted to. Wrong with the net worth. Okay, PA's doing all right. And it's after they like came here and we're doing this and you were like standing here. I think that's an okay time to clarity because they're probably not going to hit you. Heroes at this point of the game. All right, let's see. It's getting close to 5 minutes, so this would be a good time, another good time to clarity. I think right now what might be good is to, you can either, let me see it play out a little bit first. Okay, yeah, so you can do what you're doing where you connect the pull and then go for the 5-minute rune. But if you're a very slow hero who would never make it in time, then what you can do instead is stack this at like 53, 54 seconds, hit them, run up here, grab this rune, and then if you know they're chasing you, then like run this way and then TP home. Or if you know you're fine, then you can like run this way. And maybe you can even consider like ganking mid if you're a hero that can do that. Jakiro's not really a hero that can do that. But some people can, like Lion or Shadow Shaman, for example. And it's still possible on Jakiro. It just, like, it'll depend on the matchup a bit. Ooh, Silencer got some in. Nice. Begins. Alright, so right around now, if I was you right now, I'd be standing here, and I would hit this creep and start to walk over. So, like, this is the timing. I wouldn't look at the actual time, just look at the creeps. So, like, 3 creeps down to, like, 2 like this. If I hit this right now, pull over, I know that this creep will be close to dying, and I can auto-attack once or twice to finish it off. And then that should connect the pull. That is something that I can tell you based off, like, thousands of hours of playing. So, like, the fact that you misconnected pulls, don't sweat it. You'll get there. And then it'll be easy.
Dyer's mid tower won't last much longer.
I actually think this is okay. This lane would be going better if PA was like spending her money on stuff. She's just floating like 1,300 gold. If she practices in bot match, yeah, you can definitely do that. You can practice in bot games. It's not a bad thing to do. There are a couple commands that might make it faster for you, so you don't have to wait. I don't know if you've seen them or not, but if you go to the Dota wiki and look at the cheats, it's also there. But you can do spawn neutrals like this. And as long as you're not standing in the box, you'd use this command. It'll instantly spawn the whatever camp. So you can do that. So like you can practice a pull at 30 seconds and then do it again and again. Give yourself like a dag-in and use the cheat command -WTF so you can like cast off cooldown. And so you can like attempt the pull, and if it fails, just like kill everything, spawn a new batch, and that way you don't have to like wait for all the timings. And if you don't remember those, you can message me in the Discord or something, and I can type that up again. But it's also on the wiki. So anyways, what I was saying is, like, I actually think what you're doing right now is pretty good. Continuing these pulls, playing the lane. Like, PA should be spending her money. You're actually also starting to get a bit much. I might think about a, let's see, at this point you're at 800. You could probably go straight boots. Yeah, boots. Hopefully this guy builds like a blink dagger eventually, because you don't really have an initiator. So I might be thinking, like, if I'm you, I'm thinking boots, probably tranquils, and then eventually probably like a Yule scepter to set up kills, so like I can Yule someone an ice path, or maybe actually in this game, this is a game where like in the last game we watched, I said I don't think it's a good Vlad's game. This game is like kind of okay, although you're not the best Vlad's carrier. So Treant Protector could get Vlad's this game, and I think it would be okay because you have like a PA and another right clicker who won't benefit in the mid game, but like later it would. If I didn't have a Treant Protector, I might consider it on Jakiro if I had nothing else to build. But I think it's a really good Yules game to deal with. Like you can Yules her when she duels someone, you can Yules him when he ults. Silence, you can remove it from yourself or use it to set up on any of these guys. You see someone get graved and they're trying to TP out, all that jazz. Yeah, they're honestly not harassing you that much. So you're kind of getting away with not using that many resources. But honestly, that just happens at this rank, where people are just not going to necessarily play their hero the most efficiently, and that's okay, because everyone starts somewhere. But it is something you can abuse, where you can go a little lighter on regen, or play really aggressively, and people like don't know how to handle it.
Thanks.
I would also consider getting a ward for yourself, because you're around that time when, as PA approaches 6, you're getting close to this point where you might be able to leave her alone or get kills if you have good vision. So I would want to grab a ward for probably somewhere around here. Here or here, I think is good.
Dire's mid towers having technical
Oh, this one's close. You're getting closer and closer. Each connected pull is like almost there.
Radiant's top towers taking hits.
And you might have actually, I was watching the pull. Take a look at what's happening up here. Was hasted. Yeah, maybe you could have TP'd up here to help them. I wouldn't worry about it too much, though. I think continuing to play bottom is like okay right now, especially because she's like close to 6, and maybe you can get some kills on these guys. Although you'll want to have ice path, so I would try to sap some XP right around now to try to get to level 4. Yeah, so be a little closer to lane to make sure you're getting the XP. Like, you guys are actually quite strong. Like, even though she doesn't have her ult yet, I think when you guys cast your abilities and then like throw daggers and attack this guy, like, especially because he's at half health, you can play aggressive right now. Oh, let me come back to you. So like one way to think about it is that we pull to establish an advantage so that we can win our lane. Once you can win the lane and like just straight up kill the enemy or bully them out, you don't really have to pull at that point, although it can still be good to like further push that lead. But at this point, like, you guys are close to that point where you could just actually play the lane, so you don't need to continue doing as many pulls. Having said that, I don't hate doing pulls, but I do think you can be a little more aggressive here. Yeah, so like cast both spells, PA comes over, let's see. I think he'll die, yeah. So imagine if that fight started like 2-on-2 over here instead of like you were almost dead by the time PA joined. What are you building?
Mid tower could use a little help.
I think you went. Okay, actually, let me back up. Let me double check what you were buying. You got a full wand, another iron branch. Didn't harass them enough. Yeah, so, I mean, I'm not going to say she should tilt, but I do think it's something you could do, is to start to fight a little more. Not to like scare you away from pulling. Like, I think the amount of pulls you did were good. And then at this point, now it's time to like transition into being aggressive. A mistake. Okay, no problem. Sometimes what can happen is like you try to buy magic wand and it kind of like glitches out and like buys an extra iron branch. It's a little wonky. I actually don't think you need to buy the full magic wand though. I think maybe just get the magic stick, and because like ideally these consumables would have been used, and so then your slots would be free, and so you could just have the 2 magic sticks, or I'm sorry, the 2 branches, the magic stick, and then you would have empty slots, and you could just like go straight for tranquils, which will then consolidate like the windlace, the ring of Frisia, and the boots into 1 slot. This is a lane where I think Basilius could also work because you have a PA who will spam dagger. Okay, you're all down here. That's fine. We can pressure this tower a bit. Base better still had all my regen. Like, sometimes you'll just have the regen, and that's okay. But I like to not buy the magic wand too early. I like to have it after like most of my other slots are filled. Silencer is in. A little aggressive. A little aggressive there. 10-minute runes are coming up. You might consider stacking that. Okay, a pull is good too, and then I would run up to stack maybe. How did PA just die? Yeah, so due to some missed XP from like the wave being up here and from like some of these deaths, right now you need to be like at this tower getting this XP. This is where the flaming started. Yeah, I wouldn't worry about... If you're going to get flamed, of course it feels bad. And so for the most part, ignore that part, but do consider like, okay, why is this guy upset? Is it valid or not? That's kind of how I improve at this point, where like, you know, if someone's flaming me, it's like, okay, why are they flaming me? Is it legitimate or not? And thinking about that helps me like decide what I should have been doing or not. Of course it will suck to get flamed. But right now this XP, this is a lot of XP that's just like dying under the tower. So you just like ignore that pull, just walk over here, get the XP from this wave. Because your 6 is actually pretty strong. Okay, and now you're over here. You're going to get most of it. So just come over a little sooner. I think we missed like 2 creeps. And then the pull will just finish itself. Just missed the ice path. I wouldn't sweat that. I'm actually not sure if you guys would have killed him anyways. Because there's a dazzle anyways, and frankly, once he ults, they're stronger than you. That's something you'll like come to realize over time. I think at this level, it's not fully. Well, because you're new to the game, it's like hard to have a good judge of like, can we kill this guy? Can we not? I think that'll just happen over time.
Mega kill.
Radiant's mid tower's coming up. Radiant's gone.
So his ult, only one of them is immune. The Earth Panda is spell immune. The other 2 pandas can be affected by your spells still. And then, all right, bonus knowledge here. Oh shoot, I'm actually not fully sure either. So the Earth Panda is where, when his ultimate ends, if all 3 pandas are alive, he will respawn or like reappear where the Earth Panda is. If you kill the Earth Panda, I have to look it up. I think the blue spirit is last. No. Okay. The storm spirit, the blue panda is second, and then the fire is last. So like if you see him split his pandas up, chase the Earth Panda because that's where he will reappear. And sometimes you don't actually want to kill the Earth Panda. Like, say he moves the Earth Panda down here and then splits the blue one up here. You don't want to kill the Earth Panda yet until he reappears, because otherwise you'll kill the Earth Panda and then he'll reappear at the blue panda, and then he's gone. I would never have expected like someone new to the game to realize that. And like even I had to like double check it. It's like I know he starts at the Earth Panda, but then I like kind of forget after that. He's not very popular right now, so he's like started to slip from my mind. I think I knew that when he was like meta, but he's not very popular currently. That's my excuse.
Dyer's mid tower could use a little help.
Yeah, I do feel like this is a slightly too much pulling. I would say pulling between like 0 to 8 minutes is excellent. After that, there's usually something maybe slightly more productive where you can, like, you now have enough spells where like you can make plays, and so like pulling starts to drop off. And sometimes it can still be okay to do a pull, especially if you're just like waiting around, but like maybe you go top and pressure this with your spells and then TP down here when needed, or maybe you like harass them a lot and then well, at this point they're ahead, so it's like very hard for you to play this lane. So I would think about just leaving this lane at this point. Yeah, unsure of where to go. Yeah, that's fair. So let's prioritize this early lane then, because I'm not like so worried about the later game. I want to help you get off to like a good start. So like right around now, when the enemy team is starting to do better than you, so like you're bottom right now and she's still here, so like this is okay. And it's not fully lost because you're like close to 6. So right now my goal for you is to hit 6, because the tome, okay, so you could buy the tome and hit 6 with that. Yeah, the other guy on your team is 6, so he doesn't need it. So right now, after 10 minutes, if you are not level 6, your goal is to hit level 6 most of the time. So just standing near the lane to get XP, that's fine. You just want to hit 6. And then while you're in the lane, you know, you can throw out some spells. Oh yeah, we saw this. And then after that death, after this is where I think, okay, this lane sucks. I don't want to come back here, right? Because they're level 7, we're lower, and they're killing us. His ultimate is on cooldown now. But the thing is, if you like come here and you kill him, then he'll come back to this lane full health, and then it's like, ah, oh, shoot, I don't want to be down here. So at this point, I would consider walking to the top lane. Except it's very awkward because you have a Medusa. So this is where it's like the Herald games are a little awkward, because usually you would come top right now and pressure with your offlaner and like pressure their tower. In this game, maybe it's Silencer who you play around because he's your mid and he's like kind of strong with glaives, except he's dirt poor. Where is his stuff? I think he's buying something. He's still kind of poor. I think... Oh, it's tough. I still think bottom lane sucks right now, so I think going top is okay, because at the end of the day, 3 heroes, even with a Medusa, is generally better than 2 heroes. Now, your PA might still flame you, but I don't know. I think you just tell her to go jungle with Blur and just give up the bottom tower. Right at 20 minutes, you start dominating. Yeah. That's kind of what I would expect from a Medusa game.
Mega kill.
Radiant's mid tower. Radiant's mid tower coming apart.
Yeah, so right now it'd be like standing closer to here because it's a little safer, but also we're just looking to get XP from those creeps to hit 6. Yeah, you're still trying to like give her XP, which is generally the right idea, but you do want to hit your like power spikes, such as 6, or if you're like close to another level, like say you're close to level 5, hitting that, that's okay too. And I would try to walk. Okay, well in this case, In this case, maybe it's okay. Try to like walk a bit. Not knowing what to do. Yeah, I got you.
Dominating.
Trouble brewing at Radiant.
Yeah, I see it.
Radiant's bottom tower ain't a pretty
What
sight.
I'm thinking right now is that bottom lane sucks, and if you show up, you die, right? So let's just leave it. You know, go mid, it's empty, or go top where you have a bunch of other team members are, and like at least it's fun to cast spells. You know, whereas bottom is just like too scary to even approach. And if that's ever the case, I think you can just follow your gut and be like, okay, let's just forget this lane. I hate it. So like right now, I think going mid, pushing that in, that would be good. That would get you some solo XP and pressure the enemy tower a bit. Or going top so that you can cast your spells with your team and maybe get some kills there. That would also be good. And now you do make your way top. Let's see how this plays out, actually. Yeah, so you see how it feels good, right? We're just casting spells with our team. Like, it works out. Okay, here. So this, little glowy animation, that's, the spell immunity thing. So it's just the panda, and then, or Earth Panda, and then the other two can still be affected by spells.
Trouble brewing at Radiant's bottom tower. Radiant's bottom tower seen better days.
A Bassi would be good to, keep the team up here. Okay, you're getting Yules, that's good. Or, picking up a Mango. So see, you guys got kills and then you just left. Usually pressuring top is, would be better, I think. But at least that original movement up there is good. Yeah, get these mangoes. Oh, Saber! Alt! Slightly sooner ult. Alright, so we've lost all tier 1s and they have all their tier 1s. That's usually not ideal. He has no boots. This is classic pub. Alright, I will say I'm fairly happy with your itemization. I think they're all reasonable items. You're not skipping anything major. I know I said that the thing about Magic Wand, but honestly that's a minor thing. Your itemization is much better than these guys. So, you've got that from here. Now, let's take a look at a couple of fights so we can start to understand why. I mean, not just at the fact that you have good late game heroes, but this guy's way ahead. So I'm kind of curious myself, but then we'll also see what we can do to make that happen in our games. All right, just silencing people, sure.
This should make my life easier.
I'm glad the videos are helping. It's good to be reassured of that, because that's the goal. But then I post a video and I'm like, was that video any good? I don't know. If you're ever lost on what to do and you have no idea, I think a safe bet is to go for the enemy safe lane tower. So right now, if you're I don't know what to do, just try to get people to come up here and take this tower. If you have anyone up here, just join them, push this tower. Right now, Medusa's playing by herself, and she's actually your strongest hero. So, being with her, helping her out, that would all be good. And just, you want to take towers. If you're ever feeling lost, just think, what can I do to take a tower? Is there a lane that a carry is not in that could be pushed? Then I will do that. Is there a lane that carries are trying to push and they could use help? Then I will go help them. Those are a very safe bet to do, especially if you're new to Dota.
Holy shit!
I mean, I don't blame you. Dota is so hard. It's so difficult. You cut your own mango tree. That's unfortunate. Though I don't think it should have been planted here anyways. And I think this ult was the right idea anyhow. And they would have cut it anyways. They have quelling blades themselves. But yeah, Dota is so hard. So especially if you're new to the game, do not feel bad if you're ever unsure of what to do. Rip mango tree. Can we get an F in chat? look at that juicy ice path. Multiple stuns and spells. Feels great. This is good positioning. I don't know if you're thinking about it, but this is good positioning because think about where the fight's breaking out. So you're back here where it's safe, and while your team's up here and the enemy team tries to engage, that lets you land like multiple targets with your spells. So like multiple ice path hits, multiple dual breath hits. So this is good. Yes, great. Staying back. Yeah, Jakiro's a backline support. Not because he's fragile. Jakiro's actually relatively tanky, but it's because like when they're right on top of you, it's really hard to land multiple hits. And so being in the back is not only safe, but it like helps you land your abilities.
Double kill.
And that's actually kind of why you guys win this fight here. So no, I know you were like kind of like joking like, I'm not really sure why we start to win. Okay, went back to blah blah blah. Okay, free camera here. Okay, so like at this point, they definitely should win, right? They're like 9k ahead of you. It's 22 minutes. That's pretty big. Then, so first off, this guy's pushing. He's low. I know he's got his ultimate, so he's feeling strong. But that's still like one thing. Then you like kind of split up positioning. Elsie not here yet, although she's close, and Dazzle is not here. So if you take out Dazzle's net worth, that's 5k. Now they're only like 4k ahead. And like the goal does not necessarily compare to like just having more heroes in a location.
Dire's bottom tower's getting the business.
Yeah, so like this whole fight, Dazzle is not here. And you're landing like multiple spells, so both of them are disabled, and if they're disabled, they're not spending any of their gold. So he dies without being able to do anything. And now you kind of like just clean it up. You know, because Drow's a fragile hero. Even though she's ahead, she's like not that strong. If you're on top of her, which you guys were. And this fight is like very game turning for you guys, because now not only did you just win a big fight, now you're able to get some objectives, and the net worth starts to switch. As long as like, as well as like the momentum and the like mental game of like, wow, this game was feeling awful and we just won a team fight. Like, oh, maybe there's hope. All you need is hope sometimes.
Dire's top tower.
We can almost finish the Yules. So right now I would go farm it up. Look to finish up your Yule Scepter, because you're so close. I mean, try not to steal farm from your carries still, but actually in this case, when you're only like 100 gold away, I think it is kind of okay to take a little bit. Of course, we don't want to tilt our carries, so if that happens, you know, let them prioritize their farm. Yeah, this guy's just like dying twice for diving a little too hard. I mean, your stun was good, and then same with Deuce's stun. And because he's the highest net worth, every time he dies, it's really big for your team. Trying to find stacking opportunities. Yeah, when you have this many cores on your team who are all farming, it can be a little difficult to stack. That is one of the right ideas. And it'll be easier when you have like more people playing in the actual lanes instead of like jungling. It's hard to stack when all the jungle camps are always being farmed. And if that happens, then you can just go farm the lane.
The Dire better do something about that. Dire gave up bottom tower.
I actually think this is okay what you're doing. I don't know if, like, I suspect you feel lost and you're not sure what to do, but I think standing behind PA is like an okay thing to do right now. Although maybe being bottom with this team pushing is a little more okay. She is relatively safe here, so it's like you could leave her alone. But generally, protecting your carries is like a decent thing to do. This PA. Here. Got one here. Got one here. Carry players, man.
Mind blast.
What can you do, though? If you're willing to speak on the mic, I don't know how you feel about that or not. But something I'll do when I'm playing pub games is that I will say what I see. I mean, I'm not 24/7 talking, but like if I see someone roaming mid, I will tell the mid player, because a lot of people have like pretty bad map awareness, and even if you have really good map awareness, you might be like it's normal to look at your shop for a little bit or to like focus on a last hit, and for a second you might not be looking at the minimap, and like someone zooms by here in a flash, and like you see it and you're like, oh, he's roaming mid, and like, oh, he showed on the map, surely the mid must know. But they don't. And so even if you have good wards like this, sometimes I will still tell in the mic like, hey, I saw Dazzle going mid from, I'll draw it on the map. He's like, he's going this way, or it looked like he's going that way. Just so that your map awareness becomes the team's map awareness. And just because you have wards does not mean that anyone is looking at them besides you. Yeah, for sure. Minimap. Eventually, more and more, it's funny. The screen is so big, right? And so, especially if you're new to Dota, you're like, oh god, I gotta look at my spells, my items. There's like 6 heroes on the screen, like all these health bars, and eventually you'll spend like 50% of your time looking at this like tiny square right here. But I find like the higher you get, the more you realize that a lot of your time is spent looking at this little map, especially if you're a support player, because you don't have to like worry about last hitting efficiency and all that. Well, 50% is a little high, but a lot of the time you do look at this tiny portion of the screen. Try to ice path before macro pyre, or save, because you have some like team ability like Treant, I would save macro pyre for him to use it. Although like this was tempting, like you see multiple of them line up, so I get it. I do actually, part of me thinks that Treant Protector should have ulted here, but just for the sake of to play it safe, I would wait for your initiator to use his spells first, and then macro pyre, and then ice path to like do the follow-up stuff, or land the ice path and then the macro pyre, and then hopefully the Treant will know, hey, look at 4 heroes in macro pyre, I should probably ult here, but that'll save it from like what happened there, where you macro pyre and then they walk away. Yeah, no problem. We're just gonna mention it so we know. I think that's part of the learning process, is just to talk it out or to have it pointed out. I feel like that helps you remember it more. Or at least it helps me. Yo, whose item is that? Oh, you missed it. Go take it.
Can't do nothing about dire structures right now.
You might have died for it, but I think it's hilarious to do. I don't mind that macro pyre there.
Radiant's courier.
Yeah, great use of Yules. Excellent, actually. We got the follow-up after. Unfortunately, your team's a little out of position, I guess. Although, part of me thought maybe that could work. What happened? Oh, I guess PA was gone, actually. It's funny, I just talked about always looking at this this mini-map. When I'm watching replays, I am worse at looking at mini-maps.
So much for the
I think it's because I'm trying to like talk about what I'm seeing and I forget to look. Yeah, that Yules was good because he, just to clarify, in case you're not, just to like, so you know why it was good. It's because he ulted, so you're wasting his time on his ult, but then it also set up the stun follow-up, which was really good. Yeah, making space for the team to get out. And honestly, it's like not that bad. You died, your mid died, that's kind of unfortunate. But PA is solo farming, and then your Medusa got out. So like, in the end, Subsidian's right, where it's like, it's honestly not that bad. Of course, we'd prefer not to die, but it's not like your whole team wiped or like all your cores died. Someone is farming on their own. And like it wasn't all cores that died. One thing here, you could Yules this guy, because you're like really close to Ice Path. You could Yules him, and then Ice Path underneath him to interrupt his ult, and then maybe he gets killed without ulting. Just a possibility, though.
Radiant's mid tower's coming apart.
Kind of working out anyways. Nice Ice Path.
Killing spree.
Great.
Double kill.
talents. Okay.
Double kill.
The Quelling Blade. Quelling Blade as a starting item was a bit of a controversial idea. Here's another controversial idea. I kind of like the attack range talent more on Jakiro than the Spell Amp. If you're position 4, I think Spell Amp is pretty good because you're going to build damage. But as a position 5, I think applying Liquid Fire is pretty important, as well as, like, I even take the minus 50 Liquid Fire attack speed talent quite often. And if you look at this game, it makes sense, right? There's like 3 right-clicking heroes. And so minus 50 talent plus the 60 here is literally like a Moon Shard worth of slow. Not literally. 10 less than a Moon Shard worth of slow. Oh no, Moon Shard's 140. I'm a fool. 30 less than a Moon Shard of slow. Point is, it's a lot of attack slow. And the attack talent... Here's another bonus fact. I don't know if you know this about Jakiro. So with the attack range, Liquid Fire, for whatever reason, if you have it set to auto-cast and you attack, you'll do your normal attack range plus like this talent. If you manually cast Liquid Fire, you get an extra 100 attack range. No idea. But I like that a lot, and I combine it with like this attack range talent, the Liquid Fire. You should probably be holding a neutral item by now. I kind of didn't notice. But yeah. Oh, this telescope, you know, you attack so far, it's hilarious. And sometimes I'll take like the Prince's Knife or the whatever the one that silences you is. So like it actually becomes a way to initiate in a way. Like you attack from this crazy range and it lets you play really safe, right? While Brewmaster's in between, you can still like hit the drow behind him. So I really like it. And I know a lot of people will say it's really trash and they'll pick the Spell Amp, but like honestly, I did the math on the 6% Spell Amp and it just doesn't feel that good to me. Like as a position 5, like my job is not damage, and so I like the attack range talent a lot, but I know it's controversial. And right now, by the way, this is a good time to like get a clarity, just because you're like pretty low mana, and I know you have a Yule's, but your spells cost a lot, so you want to try to stay like topped up, like especially if you're going to cast multiple Ice Paths and Dual Breaths in a fight, and then Macro Pyre is like pretty expensive itself. And then if you're feeling nice, you could even Clarity or PA, but if she's toxic to me, you know, I ain't doing that. You know, but if she's nice, or like if you want to win and you're willing to look past the toxicity, you know, and then you can Clarity her up because it's technically in your best interest, you know. But out of spite, even if it causes me to lose, I don't want to do it if someone's being toxic to me. Weird interaction with... I don't know. I'm not 100% sure what you're thinking of, Sweet Nausea, but as far as I know, Jakiro, if you set it to autocast, then it will use his default attack range plus the talent, I think. But if you manually cast it, you get a little bonus attack range, 100, I believe. I'm not fully sure what the interaction you were thinking of. Attack range only applies if you apply an auto attack. I don't know if that's fixed or not, I guess. To me it works. Like I always manually cast E, I guess, is the long and short of it. Oh, really? Oh no. Okay, yeah. So it does take into account the talent. Floating money right here. Let's see. Oh, you actually get the Metallion. I actually think that's pretty good. I think Metallion's okay. Vlad's is also okay. What else could we do? If you didn't go Tranquils, you could do Guardian Greaves. I think that'd be okay. Not strictly necessary, though. Ghost Scepter, also okay, because there's so much right-click. If they try to kill you, they have to attack you. Although, actually, Primal... God. It's kind of irritating. There's no way to look this up in the game, as far as I know. If you go to the Dota wiki, though, and look at Brewmaster's summons abilities, one of them has a dispel, this huge AoE dispel. And so technically, if you're Ghost Sceptered, he can dispel it, and then that sucks. But I don't know if Herald Brewmasters know that. So I do still think that Ghost Scepter could be pretty good in this game. But I like Medallion too. Halberd is also technically an option, but because you want to stay kind of far back, Halberd requires you to be kind of up close. So if they're always jumping you, it could be okay, but it doesn't have the best synergy with you because it's a strength item for the most part, and you're this like, it gives you evasion, but as a intelligence ranged hero, you kind of want to be in the back, not getting hit anyways. That's like not the best synergy, but the disarm active is really good against these heroes. So.
Mid tower won't last much longer.
Yeah, the blue panda, I think it's electric, but it has an invis that gives it bonus damage and move speed. It has the cyclone, and then it has the purge, the dispel. We'll try to click them next time it happens. The fire one has no active abilities, but it does have like a radiance effect around it. All right, here we go. So, Earth Panda, fun fact many people don't realize, does bonus damage to buildings. Then it's spell immune, that part you can see, and you kind of realize that, like, oh, my spells don't affect it. It has that effect. And then it can also stun you every 5 seconds. So that's pretty irritating. And then if he has an Aghanims, it can also do Thunderclap, but Aghanims is not popular on Brewmaster right now. Storm Panda can, so this is the Dispel. It's a basic Dispel, so it can't remove like stuns, but if you have like the, if you're using a Ghost Scepter, does it say on this? Yeah, it's dispellable. This one doesn't tell you that it needs to be basic or strong, but it's a basic. What else? Yule's or his own Cyclone. All of those can be dispelled. And then there's the Cyclone, which can cast you up for a long time. And then Windwalk, which gives him like a bonus damage when he comes out of it. And he just moves faster. And then the Fire Panda. Oh, and if you have Ags, he can cast Inner Brew. And then the Fire Panda just has this Immolation, which is like this Radiance Burn. And then the Drunken Brawler. So the Fire Panda usually does the most right-click damage, I think. Right-click and burn damage. Or actually, maybe it's the Earth Panda. I don't think so, though. Earth Panda does the most to buildings and stuns you. And then the Blue Panda is like random utility stuff.
The dire better do something about them dire buildings are tough as nails.
Alright, actually, let's go back a second. I wasn't paying attention at all to that fight. Hey, you guys look like you won pretty handedly, but let's check what you're doing anyways, just to be sure. Alright, slow down a little more. You just picked up the medallion. I don't blame you for getting it, but this would be a great time to medallion Medusa, and then... So right now, if I were you, I would instantly cast Macro Pyre this way, then Dual Breath, medallion her somewhere in between that. Medallion's pretty instant, and then maybe Yule's the LC, or you can just hold on to Yule's. She's a pretty tanky hero. Okay, actually, if this guy runs in like this, then you Yule's him. Who did you Yule's there? It went on cooldown. You ended up using the Brewmaster. These are good. So this is why like Jakiro loves these kind of fights, because everyone gets funneled in. So right now your spells are pretty solid. Spell usage is solid this fight. They have any invis? I wasn't paying attention. Yeah, so they have some invis. So you might need to start carrying. You either need to carry dust or just carry a bunch of sentries. And by a bunch, I mean like
Guess what's happening to
maybe
dire
three plus.
No breaking through the dire structures for now.
Just because like if you want to fight here, you need a sentry to spot Drow. And then it's like, oh, we win this fight, or like we're pushing up. Now I need another sentry to fight up here. And I might want 2 sentries in case like the fight shifts this way and like, oh, that's out of the sentry. I need to place another one. So you need to have like a bundle of them. Or you can have the dust, and then like when she uses invis, then like you use it wherever. Yeah, no problem. I'm just pointing out like the stuff you can do. I don't expect you to like hit all these because you're new to the game. But eventually it's like, oh, I know these are the things I can do, and then it catches up. Yeah, the Earth Panda plus Invoker was hilarious. Earth Panda and Alacrity just demolished buildings. Nice. Good ice path there. Oh, you got dust now, though.
Kill. Double kill.
Did you medallion? Did you medallion the Drow?
Double kill.
Oh, no, no, no. I missed it. Okay, you did medallion her. Ice path. Easy. I personally... Oh, but so we kind of skipped this talent. I think dual breath damage is pretty solid if you're the 4 position. As the 5 position, usually your job's not damaged, so I really like the ice path cooldown, especially when I have like PA and Medusa. Like they'll bring all the damage. You just need to provide the lockdown. However, if your job is to like de-push waves, especially if you're losing, then dual breath burn damage becomes a little better because that helps you like one-shot creep waves. But at the same time, if you're losing, sometimes you just need more stuns. So I tend to default on the stun talents, -1 path cooldown, and then at 25, the +1 path duration. I just think stuns are so strong. And like I really like the idea of piercing immunity, and I've seen it work. And I think if you're the 4 position, again, it can work because you've built damage. But as a like the 5 position, I just feel like having more stuns is so good. Like with the cooldown talent, so this is 2.5 duration. With the talent at 25, it's 3.5, and then with the cooldown talent, it's like 8 seconds. So you have a 3.5 AoE stun that persists. The only like one of the only other persisting AoE stuns is Enigma. On 160 seconds at max level. You know, it's like the other AoE stun. Another AoE stun is like SLARDAR, so that one's pretty good. Or like Faceless Void, where's he? Okay, well first the Root, that's not a hard stun, you know, but that one's like, okay. Where is Faceless Void? I am dumb. Faceless Void, here we go. Chronosphere, 5-second duration on 160 seconds. So it's like, I just think that the cooldown talents on Jakiro are so good, because if you just like stun 2 people, I don't know, it's like you combo it, it's so good. Like PA only needs like 3 seconds to kill someone.
This should make my life easier.
The more stuns you throw out, the more chances she has to just like go on someone. Eventually, I'll make a guide for Jakiro. He's the first one that'll get a guide because I spammed him up to Immortal. Now that I did the Quelling Blade video, I think Jakiro guide will be the next big project video to do. I have to check Open Dota again. I think Open Dota ranks me pretty high as a Jakiro player. Not that that really means anything, but it's also kind of fun.
Coin for me.
Gonna brag about it? I don't know. But then I'm sure like pro Jakiro players are still like way better than me, you know? But I did feel like I learned a lot about Jakiro only playing the guy for like 100+ games. Oh, no, that's not your team. Let's see, what neutrals do you have? Yeah, so you forgot to grab a neutral item, I think, this game. Of your items, so if I was you, Trusty Shovel, I just like that item. The Keen Optic. Oh, I need to get back to making the videos on neutral items. We need to do tier 2 next. Clumsy Net is also pretty good on Jakiro because you can Clumsy Net someone, Macro Pyre, and then Ice Path if they don't have a way to get out of Clumsy Net. Or you do like Macro Pyre, Ice Path, Clumsy Net, whatever. The point is it's more lockdown on someone. Dragon Scale is like kind of nifty because you can apply it with your E. So like if you need to chip damage towers safely, you can equip the Dragon Scale and then just like chip away the E chip away the tower with your E and the attack range talent. Enchanted Quiver is hilarious because you get the 400 bonus range plus the plus 325 and then the 100 for manually casting Liquid Fire. And if someone on your team is holding a Telescope, you will literally attack from like where you are to like here. Let's see. Your team's objective right now is to get a tier 4 neutrals, I would say. The neutral items are really strong, so anytime it hits like the 17, 27, 37, or 60-minute mark, you want to try to get them. And then try to like take a fight when you have 4 neutrals and the enemy team doesn't, for example. Timeless Relic, super good on you. The extra debuff duration is makes your like AoE Ice Path just so good. Sit base and attack people. Yes, literally. It's so good. Like right here. I don't know why it's so funny to me. You could hit this tower. No, okay. Okay, here. If you have the attack talent and the telescope, you're like hitting this tower. You're probably hitting like even slightly further. And to me, for some reason, that's so funny. I have no idea why they gave it to Jakiro. Solar Crest, people. I probably Solar Crest the Dusa or the PA. One or the other. As a medallion, I tend to use them aggressively and cast it on the enemy. But when I get to Solar Crest, usually the reason I'm buying Solar Crest is because I have some super hard carry. And so I just want to buff up that carry. So in this case, both PA and Medusa fit that bill because it's a Herald pub game. So either of them would be okay. Jakiro loves sitting back. And like if you get an Aether Lens, which isn't always the item to buy, but sometimes you can get it. It makes Ice Path such a long cast range. And I do think... Okay, so now you're at tier 4s, but I do think Telescope is really good on Jakiro. But then I'd probably take this Timeless Relic as well if I were you. Although maybe Treant. I think Treant should take this Telescope because it's literally farther cast range than this Keen Optic, and it affects teammates. Solar Crest has no cooldown. I just cast it all the time on my carries, even when they're walking around, because you speed them up a little bit. Yeah, like that. I just cast it just so they can like run to camps faster. Oh, and actually because you have the debuff duration talent, it actually increases the time Solar Crest is active on someone, I think. I was pretty sure it was until I started to say it, and now I'm doubting myself. I'm pretty confident it does. So technically, there's a very brief window of overlap where you could cast it on the enemy and then cast it on your carry. The Dazzle can make much more use of that, being able to use Medallion like twice. I'm just alternating between boosting his own carries and like debuffing the enemy. Something I like to do when my team is doing Roshan, as going back to the idea that Ice Path is a persisting stun, which means if anyone walks into it even after you've cast it for a little bit, they will get stunned. When Roshan is about to die, go to a free camp. So like let's slow down. Right here, I would Ice Path right on top of it. Won't affect my team at all. Helps to like kill Roshan because he gets stunned. And then as Roshan dies, if anyone tries to blink in and steal Aegis, they'll get stunned immediately. And so then your carries have a better chance to pick up the Aegis or Cheese. Of course, if they like blink over here and you miss the Ice Path and then they pick up the item from like a little bit distance away, that sucks. But still, I think this is just generally good practice to do if you can. I try to do it as long as I have a good amount of mana, which I do. If I was sitting at like the last couple hundred, maybe I don't do it. But yeah. And also, when I have 2 carries hitting Roshan, it's probably better to cast Solar Crest on Roshan rather than the carry. I know I just said like use cast it on the hard carry, but for Roshan, just deleted that guy. For Roshan, because you have multiple carries, that's what I would do. And I think the like increased damage to Roshan for every hero is probably a little better. Yeah, this is good. Just like keep it on her so that in case they ever jump her, like she already has it buffed up. And she like moves faster, all that jazz. Alright, because I'm pretty confident you guys are like in the lead. I kind of don't mind the like I think the Ags is pretty fun. As a support, if you were tryharding, just so we can clarify, you know, like I think it's fine to have fun in Dota. But if you were like tryharding all that stuff, I think a Scythe of Vice is probably one of the best items you could buy right now. And besides that, maybe maybe it's just the Scythe of Vice actually. For this game anyways. Like other games, some stuff called out to me more, but like right now, not so much. So I think a Scythe of Vice would be like the try hard, this is what I'm doing to win. Guardian Greaves is another like okay late game item. But actually you would rather want Guardian Greaves earlier. So at this point I would probably go for Scythe of Ice. But Ags is funny, so you guys are doing pretty well. I think it's okay. A little too fast for me to see what's happening. Solar Crest the man.
Unstoppable. Double kill.
Get something easy. Okay, honestly, that is a very fair thing to do. If you like struggle to cast all your items, then like a passive item is good. So I actually think that logic is fine. And you could maybe even do something like in this game it's not so good, but in other games like a Lincoln Sphere will passively benefit you, but then if you remember to cast it on your teammates, that can be good. Although Lincoln's on a position 5 is not ideal usually, but that's like an idea, I suppose. If you cast E on this building, you'll hit both towers, by the way. If you cast it on a tower, it will not affect the other tower. So sometimes I'll ask my team not to hit this building so that I can keep casting Liquid Fire on this building and affect both the towers. Same thing with Radiant. You hit this one, it hits both. If I recall, there was a weird interaction where Jakiro would like Liquid Fire. It only applied to like one side. I don't remember who it was, but like Radiant, you could cast Liquid Fire on this tower and it would affect this one, or like this tower and it would affect the other one, but then it wouldn't work on Dire. I think that is no longer the case. I'm pretty sure for both sides, if you cast Liquid Fire on a tower, it will not affect the other one, but not 100% sure, even though I play so much Jakiro. That's probably something I should know. Almost killed him, sorry. Yeah, nice. Yeah, looks like the game should be done here. Yeah, you're solar cresting pretty decently now. Just gotta like warm up to the item. I usually forget like the first couple casts after I buy a new item. Like I just buy a Meteor Hammer or a Yule's, and then like there comes a case where I should have used it and then I forget. Like I forgot I just finished this item. Nice. Yeah, so your spell casting was pretty good in team fights. And honestly, I think it's great that you remember to pull that frequently. I don't even remember to do that. But then eventually, it's hard to say because like every game's a little different. But at some point, you do want to transition from pulls to actually playing the lane or going to another lane or something. And I'm trying to think of like how I could give you a general rule on that. But really it's just like usually once you get some levels and you can like cast spells a little better, it starts to be around that time. For like Jakiro, I feel really good when I hit level 3. But then also anytime I have Liquid Fire up, I want to go cast it on someone because that's free harass. And it's just going to be hard, though, because, like, every lane will be a little different, whether you want to, like, keep pulling or not. So it is hard to say. In this case, I do think, like, you're actually pulling a bit too much. And because of that, you are falling a bit behind on XP. But I'd rather you be in that case because it's easier to cut out pulling rather than it is to remember. So I think that'll fix itself over time, honestly. I'm not too worried about that. And then your itemization was pretty good too. I liked all the items you got. Much better than the itemization on like your own team, like skipping boots and all that. So player net worth. Are there any other questions that you had that I maybe didn't cover or anything? Let's see. Yeah, so 10 minutes you guys were struggling. But then yeah, we saw you guys start to come back, and then Troll just like didn't get to do much. I think he was getting kited pretty hard. Even had a BKB. I'm glad it was helpful. I try to be thorough. I feel like it might benefit to be less thorough, but I don't know. I still err on the side of being really thorough. See anything to say on this stuff? Oh, I think this was fine. We already talked about the talents. Some games, I think this is a fine game to get dual breath first because you guys were losing and you just need to like de-push waves. Other games, when your team has enough damage, sometimes I'll max Ice Path from here on out first, still getting Macro Pyre here, and then get dual breath after. Oh, by the way, I often skip my level 10 talent. I will max out dual breath and Ice Path at level 10, and then at level 11, then I will pick the point in the talent for the attack range usually. But sometimes I even skip that. Like if I don't feel like I need the attack range because the enemy is like all melee or we are losing really badly or whatever, or we're winning really heavily and I just want more points in Liquid Fire, sometimes I'll skip the level 10 talent for a while. But yeah, I always get the level 15 talent because I really like the -1 cooldown. And usually by level 14, I pick the level 10 talent. And usually it's by like level 11 that I pick the level 10 talent. Okay. I think that's it. All right. Thanks YouTube for watching. Have a good day.